Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1073, written by Anonymous. The day I stopped a faucet with my mind. Once upon a time, I worked at a pizza shop and had to wash dishes at the end of the day. I was in the back, sweeping the floor, while a faucet poured water into a big, commercial 3-hole sink. This faucet was super duper loud. Someone came back to talk to me, and I couldn't hear them over the roaring faucet. Without thinking about it consciously, from way across the room, I extended my hand and kind of made a squeezing motion, and the fucking faucet turned off. The guy trying to talk to me went pale and left the room, and it was never spoken of again. I still don't know what he wanted, and I've never been able to reproduce this moment of telekinesis or whatever it was. Case notes are file 1073. The day I stopped a faucet with my mind. Okay, if I saw someone telekinetically turn off a faucet, I too would turn pale. And then with extraordinary enthusiasm and excitement, I'd ask them to do it again and teach me their powers. I've thought a lot about telekinesis before. Of course, it shows up in science fiction and Star Trek and Stargate all the time, often as a function of higher level intelligence, like your brain is evolving to a certain point where you're using enough of it to start moving things with your mind. Of course, that's nonsense. We use all of our brains. Every part of it has a function. We don't use it all the time at the same time, but that wouldn't make any sense, like running a graphics processing unit on a computer when you're not doing anything that would need it. So we use all of our brains just for different functions. Lead towards a mind being able to influence the world in that way. What is the mechanism exactly? Can our mind somehow access the inner code of the simulation, like Neo in the Matrix? Even when he goes into the real world, he's able to manipulate the machines that are coming after the vessel at the end of the second movie, I believe. How does he do that? Well, a lot of speculation. People think that he's still connected to the network that they function on, the Wi-Fi network, basically. Maybe something like that. Maybe there's a actual soul connection to the real world, and then via that, you can manipulate things in this simulation. I don't know what else could. There's no direct link otherwise. Case file number 1074, written by alasaarela. Did my dream predict the future or unveil another dimension? When I was in university, I rented a larger apartment with 3 friends. One night, I saw this super vivid dream, which I remembered after waking up completely and in high detail. It was our friends, who had married recently and were on a honeymoon at the time. I explained the dream, including all the small details, to my roommate. My dream was an exchange in our living room, where the newlywed wife of my friend was reading today's newspaper, while we guys, 5 of us, discussed other stuff. She suddenly raised her head from the paper and asked if we had today's paper. I responded by laughing and asking if she was having so much fun at her honeymoon that she lost track of time. 2 weeks later, the couple had returned and were visiting us. At some point in the evening, we sat down on the sofa, exactly to the same seats where I saw us in the dream. I didn't remember my dream at that moment. A few minutes later, she started reading the paper while we talked. Then the situation started to escalate. The memory came back big time. She raised her head from the paper, asking for today's paper, and I lost control of my own actions. In complete shock, I realized I could not do anything else than laugh and say those exact words my dream had me saying. At this point, my friend who I explained the dream to earlier had gone completely white on his face. I was sweating and gasping for air after exiting robot mode, and everyone around the table was looking at us. The rest of the night, we discussed if time was a roamable dimension after all, and if there are wormholes through the multiverse to other points of time. Case notes are file 1074. Did my dream predict the future or unveil another dimension? So describing a loss of executive functioning is wildly fascinating. Along for the ride or on the buffered reality track, unable to alter the replay, so to speak. Something like that. Or maybe it was a shock of adrenaline from realizing you had precognitive event capability, and reality is far more incredible than you actually knew before this. Either way, your mind was able to access information that by our standard reasoning, it shouldn't have, which is just incredible. What other word is there? Case file number 1075, written by Sassafrass. My mom tried on a dress, but she didn't? My mom and I were shopping at a small boutique. I mean, it was barely bigger than 15 by 20, with an open door at one end and changing rooms on the other end at the back. It was midweek and just before lunch, so we were the only shoppers in the store. So we're shopping, and I watch my mom go into the changing room with an armful of clothes, including a pretty green dress that would have been perfect to wear at Christmas. Totally not my mom's style at all, but it would look pretty on her, so I was interested in seeing how it looked on her. Now, my mom dresses like a lot of women in their late 60s, early 70s. You know, shoulder-length bob hairstyle, khakis, a sweater and a puffy vest. But I can recognize her anywhere, from her mannerisms, her walk, etc. I kept browsing for a few seconds, less than half a minute, and turned around to go down the next aisle and find my mom standing there, looking at two sweaters. I said, "How did you try all those clothes on so fast? Did that green dress look good on you?" And she said, "What? I didn't try anything on." I booked it over to the changing room I saw her go into, pulled back the curtain, and saw that the dress was hanging there. There was no one else in the store, let alone someone that looked just like my mom. I called her over and pointed at the dress and said, "I just saw you go into the dressing room holding that dress to try on." And she said it wasn't her, she'd never wear that. I have no idea what the hell that was. Also, I tried to get her to buy the dress. I felt like it was a sign that she should buy it. Okay, I got Dave back, don't worry. Don't freak out. I get everything set up to record, and then Dave is on the top of my computer on the side, and then I just focus on recording my notes, and then I forget Dave is right there. But he's back, okay? Case notes are file 1075. My mom tried on a dress, but she didn't? So given how small the store was, it's impossible to have mistaken your mom for some other girl who then vanished from the changing room, because again, there was no other girl in there, not even an employee by your description. So was your mom messing with you? Is that a prank? Possibly. Or maybe she needed that green dress, the universe decreed, and it'll play an integral role in her life. An important work meeting perhaps, and it'll impress her boss, and then she gets a promotion, and then you get funding for college or something along, all the dominoes that have to align just right. So never underestimate the small details. That's where the devil is, and the deciding factor in our lives in many occasions. The big stuff is too easy. Case file number 1076, written by The 70s Disco King, Arcade, Dreams, and Deja Vu. Had a dream where I went to this arcade I'd normally frequently go to. I was with my buddy, and before walking outside to wait for a ride, we both bought sodas to go. We're squatting outside on the curb, holding our drinks, looking into the parking lot. I finish my drink, and for no reason, I start putting my hand in my soda cup and continually throw ice out of the cup onto the ground. I pause for a second and say softly to myself, déjà vu. As even in my dream, I was thinking I'd seen this somewhere before. I then lift my head up, look left, and see two kids with skateboards riding, and then I wake up. About 10 days later, I'm at the arcade again with the same buddy. Before walking out to wait for a ride, we both buy sodas. We go outside and sit on the curb in the same spot in my dream. I finish mine, and again, I start repeatedly throwing ice out of the cup. I pause and say softly to myself, déjà vu. I freeze in pure terror, realizing I was repeating the same actions in my dream, and recognizing that the déjà vu I had in my dream was only déjà vu because it's now happening 10 days later. I slowly crank my head to the left because I heard some noise, and to my further shock, I see two kids walking towards me with skateboards in their hands. I sprung to my feet and started flipping out with my buddy still sitting, confused and asking me what was wrong. For what it's worth, purchasing a soda while leaving and throwing ice out of my cup aren't normal rituals. In fact, it was the first time I could remember ever doing either of those two things. Case notes for file 1076, Arcade, Dreams, and Deja Vu. Yeah, to me this is absolute evidence of buffered reality. I can't square how to explain it otherwise. I mean, your mind while dreaming, which I think is often the key to decoding this information, understood what will happen later on in time. Thing is, it still happened even though you knew about it. That's only possible if our experience of reality lacks free will in the visual input, the direct moment to moment. But I think that's surface level. I think we have free will, but we already made our choices and now we're just reliving it. We're watching a movie of the choices we had made. But we're experiencing it as if we have direct control right now, but we're just watching a replay. Now maybe there are times where we can resume from replay. If you play games, you understand that, where you can have a replay of your match in that game, and then you can resume from a specific given moment, and then just rewatch the replay after that from those actions you take then. So when I'm playing a match of Overwatch, I make all my choices along the match, which ultimately culminates to a win or a loss, and after the match I can load back into the replay and examine exactly what I did every moment, and from other people's points of view as well. Living as if in that moment, but while watching the replay, I don't have free will. I'm watching what my free will executed. It's kind of coherent. I don't know if it's true, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And now time for the quote of the day. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke. In these times, I think it's an important quote. I think we all need to stand true to what we believe in. You know, I'm someone who believes in freedom greatly. I won't go into politics. I just think we need to be able to speak our mind freely. That's all. If we can't speak to each other, then eventually swords come out. We don't want that. Definitely not. And like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.